So we want to build this new directive which works kind of like a v-on. So directives, and here the directive, well, you may choose any name. I will choose custom on as the name. And in my custom on directive, I have my bind hook here. That's my important hook in this case. Here I do have my element and my binding. These are the two arguments I will need to access. Now, let me quickly add a button here. And I will add a method in my object here, methods, where I will say clicked. And here I then want to throw an alert. So it's not really about the function we execute here. It is about being able to execute one. So alert, I was clicked. Nice. So this is this function. Now I then want to use my directive we custom on like this. And then here I will execute clicked. So I pass a reference to this function I then want to execute. Now therefore, what I can do is here in the element, I want to listen to an event. Now, I'm not specifying which event right now. So let's start simple by forcing that to be a click event. How can I do this? Well, keep in mind the element is my native HTML element. And therefore, of course, I have access to onClick like this. And onClick now takes a function which should get executed whenever we click on this element. Now what I can do here is I can say execute my binding value, of which I know it will be a reference to a function, so I can execute it like a function. Let's see if this works. If I now go back and hit click me, we see I was clicked. Was that easy? It is. So that is really how easy it is to get started with this. Now let's fine tune it a little bit. First of all, not really connected to this directive, but I want to give this button some styling to make it look nicer. Second of all, I don't want to listen to onClick here. Instead, I want to be able to listen to any event, and I want to set up a flexible event listener for that. Therefore, I'm going to copy or comment out that, and instead I want to add an event listener here. And how do you add an event listener? Well, we have to specify the type of the event as a string, and then the second argument is the function we want to execute. Well, that's pretty easy. The type is something we can extract because that is simply our binding arg. Now we're not passing this yet, but I can pass it with a colon, click for example. And then I can here add the type here. This will be converted to a string, so that's absolutely fine to use it like this. And then I want to execute my function. I'm just extracting this in separate constants to make it really clear what happens here. So this is my binding value, which again will be a reference to a function I can execute. So we'll execute the function here. Important, don't pass parentheses here. You want to just pass the reference to the event listener. JavaScript will execute this automatically for you once you do click. Now with this, let me try this modified code. Still works like a charm. Awesome. Now with that, we already finished the exercise. Now I want to try something else and also add a little div here, which I give some style. Let's say some width 100 pixels and a height 100 pixels, and so that we can see the background color of light green. So this div here, and here I want to listen to mouse enter. So to do that, I'll restructure this into multiple lines. Here I want to have my custom on directive, and I want to listen to mouse enter here and execute a function. I will pass, or I will create mouse enter for that. And here I simply want to console log mouse entered. And I also want to provide another function, mouse leave. And you guess what I want to enter there or output there, mouse leaved. Now, of course, I also will hook this up. So mouse enter, here I want to execute mouse enter, so this newly created function. And I also want to hook up my other listener, v custom on mouse leave and execute mouse leave here. And don't put the parentheses here, like this. Now let's see this in the console. If I clear this, mouse entered, mouse left, mouse entered, mouse left. So this is really flexible. As you can see, we can listen to multiple events. Can of course still click here. That is how this works and how easy it was to create our custom directive, which kind of works like VON just by using native DOM JavaScript things like the event listener here, passing an argument and passing a value, the function which should get executed or the reference to this function. Really short, and hopefully that showed you how you can use the features native elements offer you, native JavaScript offers you to build powerful directives.